Zeke Sandhu, senior agent at Klutch Sports in the football division. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
I'm wondering if we could talk a little bit about Klutch and its football division, how that's grown over the past few years, and kind of the work you guys are doing to kind of build that out and be more of a player in the industry.
For sure. I think what we've done is assimilated a good group of agents with a lot of experience, and again, building a culture where we continue to not only help the players maximize their earnings on the field, but building a platform for them off the field.
How do you effectively kind of teach them that playbook? Because a lot of players, obviously today, they want to be more active. They want to be investors. They want to have personal brands. How do you work with them to kind of get to that point?
I think the biggest thing is about putting a great team around them, because one person can't do it themselves. So we have a great team of individuals that come collectively to help lead that charge. But making the player take ownership of it as well, sitting down with them, assimilating a plan, what their future goals are, and helping develop that plan for them.
You work with Teteroa McMillan, obviously
Yes.
had a great year, potentially Rookie of the Year. I'm wondering, how do you take that momentum and then kind of convert that so early in a career like that?
For sure. I think the biggest thing is sitting down with them and making them understand their brand equity, right? Who they are, and making them understand that they're more than just an athlete, right? So as a professional athlete, how do we work on that pro side of it? So while they do the things they do on the football field, now we're also assimilating that plan off the field by working with them and making them understand that there's more to it. In their adult life, pro football is going to be a short window. So how do we maximize the rest of that?
To what degree are you kind of like teaching kind of things like financial literacy and also kind of, seeking out equity investments and kind of this or that, how that works? How is that kind of playing in the overall, I guess, education of younger athletes?
For sure. I think the biggest is making sure that they have the right team around them. Again, we always go back to the team aspect, right? So having the right financial planner, making sure that financial literacy is in place, but also having people like Rich Paul and Farrell who can put them around the right people to explore brand equity aspects of it, right? Because sometimes not all these deals are going to give you the short-term financial gain, but how do we do the long-term equity play? So giving them that understanding, but also breaking it down for them, showing them the pros and cons of everything so they understand. We want to equip them and educate them so they can make better decisions.
One of the things that's interesting about any sort of agency is as you scale and grow, you obviously have more clients than you do agents. How do you maintain that level of personal attention? How do you make sure every client, their needs are met? Because we're in a world where the definition of a full service agency has completely changed and gotten even more comprehensive.
For sure. I think that's a great question. Again, our approach at Klutch is a lot different. We put a SWAT team around the player. So there'll be your agent, have your client managers, you'll have your PR team, you'll also have your marketing team. So there's a whole team that gets put around them. But the biggest thing for us in our approach is we're not looking at numbers, it's more quality over quantity. So making sure when we're taking on client, we're able to give them that full service.
How are you thinking about how you can work with the other divisions? Obviously, Klutch basketball, for example, obviously tremendously successful. What synergies can you kind of take away from other divisions, bring them into football, and allow football to be a better overall division?
It's an interesting question because I think football players love basketball players love football players. How do we tie the athletes together to make them understand a bigger picture? So they do a lot of stuff together, whether it be philanthropy, different things in the community. How can we tie them in? So I think the synergy is you can learn a lot because player representation is player representation. But there's a lot you can learn from the different divisions on the approaches, right? I think the schedules in basketball are a lot different than schedules in football. But at the end of the day, it's very tolling on an athlete, period. So just making sure that we're as many opportunities we get to cross sports to get everybody interchangeable, we try to do that.
Well, kind of indirectly there, college sports has obviously changed quite a bit too, and now with the advent of NIL, also revenue sharing, agents are playing a much bigger role in that sport. How are you thinking about NIL and kind of what opportunities that offers Klutch and that area that you can expand into?
So we made a big push in that. Carl Reed and myself are the co-heads of the NIL division. But our approach, again, it's always about education. So even when we're bringing clients in on the NIL space, it's educating the parents, educating the young men and women on how to really build their brand, right? You just said it's starting way earlier now. I mean, it's starting all the way in the high school phases and these colleges. These athletes are making a lot of money. Giving them that financial literacy at an early age, making them understand their brand and their value of their name, and really seeing the long-term play instead of looking at short-term gratification.
The one thing they say about college sports right now is it's like the Wild West. And I'm wondering, without regulation the way you have in, let's say, the NFL or the NBA or another sport, how hard is it to operate there?
I don't think it's hard. It's just finding the right. I think again, approach is everything. Our approach is always to educate. So you're just finding the right families, the right individual athletes who want to learn, who want to grow. Our play is more than just negotiating their deals. It's about really putting a whole plan, whether it's off-season training, whether it's nutrition, understanding the financial aspects of it, and looking at an overall plan. So our approach is a lot different. I think the people that gravitate towards us want to see that bigger play and plan to really help benefit their futures.
When you have a leader like Rich Paul, how, obviously like basketball traditionally has been his bread and butter, but how do you take someone like that and bring him in and leverage his kind of experience, his impact, kind of his notoriety on your own business?
I mean, you just said it. I mean, he's done a lot in this business. Rich is very successful and successful for a reason. I think that energy that he brings and the wisdom he brings spills over in every parts of our departments, right? So there's a lot to learn. And I think that's when a leader leads, he leads sometimes just by doing the things he does, and allows the rest of us to raise our game in our platform.
Yeah. The agency business, broadly speaking, is obviously cutthroat. There's been a lot of consolidation over the last few years with different agencies being bought up. Where do you see the business going from here? What would be kind of your pie in the sky prediction about how that shakes out?
I think you're seeing a lot of people, like you say, get swept up into the bigger agencies, but I still think there's a lot of athletes out here. Everybody's looking for different things, so there's a lot of room for growth for everybody. I just think as the business evolves, you have to evolve. The athletes are evolving. The NIL space is evolving. So as this continues to grow, you have to evolve or you're going to get left behind.
Zeke, Sandhu, thanks for being here today.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.